So this is math lesson 112. Today's objective is really about finding fractions between fractions. So if I looked at 2/3 and 1/3, what is a fraction in between them? And that's kind of tricky. So it actually starts with using some map scales. So on this it says, use the map scale to estimate the distance from Birmingham to Bessemer. And you can use either map. Now I'm just going to look at this map quick, and I think that is going to be tricky. So I'm going to come over here and say if they're both on that road, I would say that's pretty close to that scale. I might even say it's just over, and I'm going to estimate 12 miles. You could estimate it 12 or 10 or 11. I'm just going to pick 12 because I think it's a little over 10. Halfway would probably be 6 miles. And then half of halfway would be 3 miles. So it's understanding that probably Fairfield's somewhere in the middle, and halfway to that would be somewhere in there. So it's looking half of half of half. And that's going to come up handy here in a little bit. So if I scroll down, here was kind of that example of fractions that I was looking at. And we're going to zoom in between 2/3 and 3/3. I know there's fractions in between there, but I can't really see them yet. So we're going to zoom in on that map. And we know 2/3 could go right here, and 3/3 could go here. Kind of like yesterday, 3/3, if I multiply that by 3, it's actually equal to 9/9. So then if I multiply 2/3 by 3, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, it becomes 6/9. So now it's easier to see, well, what is between 6/9 and 9/9? Well, that would be 7/9 and 8/9. And just like anything, you can keep zooming in further and further. So now it wants to know, well, what is between 8/9 and 9/9? Well, I could take 9/9 and I can multiply it by 9, 18, 27, 36. I'm going to multiply it by 4. So 8 times 4 would be 32. In between 32 and 36 would be 33, 34, and 35. And I kind of wrote those a little sloppy. My pen tool is not working. But you can kind of see 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. It's all about zooming in to see more fractions between different fractions. So we're going to flip the page and look at more examples of these. So on page 43 now, it says, find a fraction between 35/36 and 36/36. Taking that old example that we just used, we kind of ended with that, and zoom it in even more. So I'm going to start with just writing 35 and 36 over here. And what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to erase my ink quick, so I'm going to try to multiply those each by 2. So 36/36 becomes 72 over 72. 35 times 2 is 70 over 72. Well, what is in between those? That would be 71 over 72. And now I have found a fraction that works. 71 over 72. I can look at more examples of these. Starting with, I have a section that's 1 to 2. And this is kind of tricky because you have to figure out how many spaces are there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So it's actually talking about fifths. So 1 would be 5/5. 2 would be 10/5 because it's double. In between there is 6/5, 7/5, 8/5, and 9/5. In between these two, pretty simple. It goes 19 to 24/8. So I just have to keep counting. So 20. Oh, this is eighths, isn't it? Oh, I erased everything. So this would be 20 over 8. My pen tool is kind of messed up right now. 21/8, 22/8, 23/8. So just kind of counting that way. Now it says, write 3 or more fractions between 22/8 and 23/8. Here's my hint with this. If you need 3 or more fractions, we're going to zoom in, and we need to zoom in by more than 3. So something more than 3 could be 4. So I'm going to multiply each one of those by 4. And let me try to fix my tool quick. So if I multiply each one of these by 4, my tool's working a little bit better. 22 times 4 is 88, and 8 times 4 is 32. So I have 88 over 32. If I do the same with 23 times 4, 46, that would be 92 over 32. And now I just get to list all the fractions that are in between there. Well, what that would be is 89 over 32, 90 over 32, and 91 over 32. There you go. There's 3 or more. On the next page then, I want you to practice some data landmarks. We've covered all of these. Some of you struggle with these, but these are really good practice. You're using NFL coaches to help you out there. This time I'm not going to give you the answers on here because you should know most of these. Maybe you might have to look them up to get a little more clarification. But there you go, practicing those data landmarks. Give it a shot.